Hey everyone, happy Monday night. It's Dr. Heather Hammerstedt from Holist. Good evening, good evening, good evening. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about something that I saw. Well, I'm going to talk about a lot of different things, but the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is something that I saw pop up in my social media feed the other day, and it's something that I first saw a few years ago, and you've probably seen it too. I'm not going to lie, I sort of skimmed through it because it was interesting, but it can also give you a very limited view of the relationship between food and exercise. Before I get into it, if you don't already know me, I'm an emergency medicine physician, lifestyle medicine physician, integrative nutrition coach, and here at Holist, we help people figure out how their brains and bodies work around food. I love to do these free trainings because I think it's just super important that most of us understand just like generally the things we need to be working towards. And for the vast majority of people, I've been told that all the content that we put out there is like really helping change lives, which makes me very excited. If you do need extra help, obviously we do have paid programming where we put you through a 12-week educational and coaching program to like really dial into exactly how lifestyle medicine and metacognition work can help you. But for today, okay, so I'm talking about one of those charts that outline like the burpee equivalents for different foods. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like one cookie is like 141 burpees, or like a small meatball sub is like 402 burpees, or like a Big Mac is like 506 burpees. I've also seen charts for like how many miles it takes to like walk or run off different foods. If you're watching live, give me a live. If you're watching on replay, let me know and like give me a couple likes and love so I'm not just like talking to myself. But for example, it takes an hour and 30 minutes to walk off a quarter of a large pizza, or 42 minutes of running at 5 miles per hour, or it takes 48 minutes of walking to burn off a blueberry muffin, or 25 minutes of running. On one hand, like this is interesting because it makes you realize just how much of impact of what you eat can have on your body weight wise, even though the numbers themselves are like meaningless because there are a lot of things that affect like how many calories a person burns, from their gender to their size to their age and more. But I guess on the other hand, this approach overlooks something else very important: the actual nutrition of the foods that are giving to your body. So food is so much more than just calories and how much it takes to burn off. The food you eat is packed with vitamins and minerals and other compounds that help build and power your muscles and bones, create and regulate hormones, boost your immune system, help your cells and organs do their jobs. And it can also be filled with unhealthy fats and added sugars and excess sodium and refined grains that make it harder for your body to function at its best. So the idea is to eat more of the foods that add value to your body, things like vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, whole grains, healthy fats, and to eat less of those that don't contribute to your health and well-being, like added sugars and ultra processed foods. So it's not just about the calories. While those burpee charts are interesting, they're also kind of BS. It's good to keep in mind that it's only a tiny part of the story, because like a calorie, as I always give an example for it, like quite literally comes from people burning up a single element of a food in a lab to see how much heat it releases. So obviously it has nothing to do with what it is combined with, how it is processed, what the whole food looks like, the whole plate looks like, what you've done the rest of your life, what your sleep is like, what your hormones are like, what your movement is like, what your mood is like, what your metabolism is currently like. I mean, it just is not that simple. And if it was as simple as me doing 141 burpees, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. We have a step-by-step program really designed to help you feel stronger and reach those goals and balance your hormones. And you can learn more always by messaging us. Um, Another thing I wanted to talk about, leave me a comment if any of this is like interesting to you, by the way. Let me switch to my comment zone so I can actually see you guys. There you go. Let me know if you're watching. Let me know if any of this speaks to you. If you have any questions, if I can't answer them live, I'll certainly come back on and answer them. So plant-based proteins. Here are two important words when it comes to meals and nutrition: variety and planning, especially if you're putting a lot of demands on your body because of workouts or because of just like stress, like life, right? But these words are even more important if you eat a mostly plant-based diet and want to make sure you're getting enough protein. Because I hear this all the time. People are like, I want to be plant-based, but I like can't get enough protein. if you don't already know me, you know that plenty of our clients are plant-based. They're all doing fine. We even have a plant-based coach if this is something that you are looking into. And I tell you, from a lifestyle medicine perspective, the data is really skewed that direction. On to the tips. Don't let me get diverted here. When you eat a plant-based diet, there are lots of things to keep in mind. Not only do you want to make sure you eat foods that add up to enough protein for your needs, along with vitamin 12, iron, omega-3 fatty acids, and other micronutrients that can be kind of hard to find in plant foods if you're not looking directly for them. So you have to add a little extra because plant proteins aren't as easy. Actually, I wouldn't say aren't that as easy for the body to use as animal-based protein. They're not like all in one place. So if you eat an animal, just like our muscles, right? They're created in a certain way to be a complete protein, all the amino acids in one of those protein structures. So plant proteins are not made like that because they're not like one thing, right? Like this veggie grows here, this fruit goes here, yada, yada, yada. But when put together, they can be a complete protein. So, yeah, so what I mean by complete is like most plant proteins are incomplete, meaning they don't have all those essential amino acids to form a complete protein in the same place for your body to use. But there are things you can do to do that. So here are the protein basics. Tip number one, eat plant-based foods that are as complete proteins as you can. It used to be able to hard to find these, but now you can find them mostly at every grocery store. So ancient grains, amaranth is one. Quinoa, not technically a grain, it's a seed, but falls into that category. Chia seeds, you can add those to like anything. I like to put them in my overnight oats or on salads or even in sandwiches. Buckwheat's another great option. Hemp products, organic soy products like tofu, edamame, tempeh. I love tempeh. If you haven't used it, it's super easy. It's just fermented soy. You don't even really have to cook it, although obviously it tastes much better if you do. I just sear it in a pan and use it in everything. Tip number two, combine plant foods to form a complete protein. So when you pair two different incomplete protein sources, it can add up to a complete protein. So incomplete protein sources include whole grains, so like rice, barley, legumes, nuts, seeds, and some vegetables. So like Brussels sprouts, corn, asparagus, broccoli. Those are some great ones I can think of off the top of my head. Dietitians used to recommend that every meal should include at least 2 to 3 incomplete protein sources, but now they say as long as you eat a variety during the day, you can meet your protein needs. So here are a few examples like rice and beans, almond butter and whole grain bread, salad with quinoa and black beans. Those are some good options. Tip number 3, what about plant-based protein powders? I get asked about protein powders all the time. So there are dozens, maybe even hundreds of different plant-based protein powders on the market. And while they may be high in protein, it's important to remember they are also very highly processed, and they can contain sweeteners and other products that might not align with your health goals. So I just want you to be super careful to read your ingredient labels and do your research. My general advice is that if you're paying attention to the food that you're eating, you don't really need supplements and powders. Last thing I wanted to talk today, before I give you a couple of freebie options, the 80-20 rule. Maybe it's more like a philosophy. It might make your life and your fitness or health routine a little bit easier. It's an idea that works for a lot of people, especially me, because not only can it get us out of that all or nothing mindset with food and health, it's also just like super simple. So it works like this: 80% of the time, eat nutritious whole foods, vegetables, fruit, whole grains, healthy fats, lean proteins. Can't get simpler than that, right? On a practical level, it looks like this. If you eat 3 meals a day, it means there's 21 meals in a week. And 80% of 21 meals is 17. I'm not very good at math, but I think that's right. Following the 80-20 rule, you would focus on eating healthy 17 meals per week. So if you'd prefer to break down those percentages by your overall calorie intake, you'd devote 80% to healthy choices, so 1,500 calories a day. It's 1,200 calories of healthier options. I hate calories, but I understand that that's the way other people's brains like quantify things, because that's what we've been taught. So at 2,000 calories a day, that's 1,600 calories. So anyhow, no matter how you do it with this approach, no food is ever off limits. getting away from the calorie approach. If you just think about what your plates look like throughout the day, I like to think about my food as like, what does my plate look like? How much healthy fats, how much lean proteins, how many whole grains, how much plants and do I have on that plate? It's a little bit harder in this perspective because you're talking about the whole day. So if you think of each of your plates over the whole day, can 20% of those be something that's like off? And you're still making progress, because what we're talking about here is progress, not perfection, right? So again, no matter how you do it with this approach, another great thing is that no food is ever off limits. So it takes you away from that restriction, and more into, this is my choice about what I want to be doing right now. Because when we restrict, we all know, like, right, we're humans. We were like, rebel, 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 even if you're the one who's telling yourself to restrict, right? It's even worse when someone else is telling you from outside to do it, because then we really are going to rebel. Many people say that this kind of 80-20 helps them create healthier food habits because of the focus on healthy foods versus deprivation. And the one key part of this plan is to really make sure that 20% of relaxed eating is actually 20%, because it can be easy for those portions to kind of creep, you know? So as a side note, other people follow the same philosophy. They use 90-10, eating nutritious foods 90%. It's all about like what works best for you and for your goals, you know? So I hope that was helpful. Leave me some comments or some questions. Give me a couple likes and loves if you'd like. I am going to come back on, I think tomorrow probably, or Wednesday, and have another live with some other information. For right now, I just wanted to let you know that I think it's time for a gratitude challenge. We did this earlier in the year and I loved it. It's a 5-day gratitude challenge. If that is something that sounds interesting to you and you want to give that a try to incorporate more gratitude into your life, it's good for settling our own mood hormones. It's good for putting it out there for everyone else to settle their their mood hormones. But most importantly, helps you just kind of realize what you have in your life, how you can set your why about why you want to move forward and be a better, stronger, fitter, emotional, physical being. So if gratitude sounds like something you want to join me on in the next week in a gratitude challenge, just drop the word gratitude into the comments, and I will send you some information about how you can join that. It'll all be self-directed, but just you'll know that you will have a community of people doing this with you. We did it live earlier in the year. It was super fun, but this one will be all self-directed. So if you want that, drop the word gratitude. Otherwise, as you know, you can always join us here at Holist by asking for a strategy call to figure out exactly where you are with your food and movement. And we'll be happy to hop on the phone, one of us, and just talk to you about what that looks like. And if we have something that works for you, that's awesome. If we don't, we have plenty of places where we can move you into other directions, including 1 million resources here at Holist that most of them are free. I also wanted to make sure that you knew that we have a group weight wellness program that is starting on Monday. We are almost full. So if you want grab a spot in that group, definitely send me a message or drop the word group into the comments. This will be a 12-week program where you get daily podcasts from me about nutrition and about metacognition, around health behavior change. And then Coach Karen is going to be leading this group, and she's amazing. She has over 30 years of experience as a dietitian and as a coach, and she's been here with Holist for our whole Holist careers, about 4 years now. Very adept at running these groups so that each person feels like they're getting her most personal attention. That is her biggest shining light of the skill. There will be max 10 people in this group, so very personal. And this is a way for you to have Karen's expertise, kind of take the information that I give you during the course and really just like get it in so that you feel like this is my life, my lifestyle, this is my choice, this is something that's going to work for me moving forward. We've had people lose 8 to 10% of their body weight in just a 12-week group program. So if that sounds something like you'd like, let me know. As always, we do have our personal coaching program that starts every Monday. So if you want one-on-one, like intensive work, we're your people. So thank you for joining me on this Monday. I hope this was helpful. Leave me some notes and questions, and I'll be back in a couple days with more. Ciao.